The Marvel Cinematic Universe is getting bigger all the time, but between the Iron Mans and the Jessica Joneses and the Captain Americas, there's a glaring hole. Chill-ass teens. Where are our TV shows about teenagers in the Marvel Universe, you might be asking? Well, the answer is coming to Hulu in 2017. Marvel has tapped Stephanie Savage and Josh Schwartz, the creators of Gossip Girl, The OC, and Chuck, to bring its fan-favorite comic Runaways to Hulu. While many comic book fans were stoked, many other people were like, wait, Joan Jett is in the Marvel Universe? No, she isn't. But don't worry, today on The Dan Cave, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Marvel's Runaways. Now, quick warning, the following will contain spoilers for the Runaways, so now's your chance to run off into the forest and create a new life for yourself if you don't want to know what's going to happen. Are you still here? Good, let's do this. Created in 2003 by Brian K. Vaughan and Adrian Alfona, The Runaways is based on a question that every teen has asked him or herself at one point or another. What if my parents were secretly supervillains? Well, that's exactly what happens to the 6 teenagers at the center of the Runaways, who discovered that their parents were members of the Pride, a secret organization of supervillains who ruled over Los Angeles. Now, the members of the Pride held a charity gala every year at the Wilder family's mansion in Malibu. Except it wasn't actually a charity gala, it was actually an occult ceremony known as the Ritual of Blood, in which they would sacrifice a human being. Now, usually the parents were able to get away with this under the guise of the gala, but this time around, their kids witnessed them murdering a young woman during the ceremony and did what any one of us would do: ran the hell away. The 6 kids in question, Nico Minoru, Chase Stein, Gertrude Yorks, Carolina Dean, Molly Hayes, and Alex Wilder, decided to team up to find evidence that would implicate their parents in the murder. But these aren't just 6 average teenagers with the powers of unfathomable sarcasm and eye-rolling. These teens inherited incredible abilities and/or stole equipment and gear from their folks, and then they gave themselves some cool code names, which they used very briefly. Nico Minoru, aka Sister Grimm, is a powerful witch with magic powers. Alex Wilder doesn't need a code name, because he's a baby genius with a knack for strategy and leadership. Chase Stein calls himself Talkback and wields his father's flame-manipulating gauntlets, the Fistigons. Cool name. Molly Hayes goes by Bruiser and is a mutant with super strength and nigh invulnerability. Carolina Dean dubs herself Lucy in the Sky and is actually an alien with solar powers. And Gertrude Yorks, aka Arsenic, has a telepathic link with a genetically engineered velociraptor named Old Lace because comics. Unfortunately, the police proved to be no help to our titular Runaways. In fact, their parents manipulated the evidence to frame their own kids for murdering the girl that they themselves had ritually sacrificed. Dick move, parents. After taking refuge in the ruins of an old mansion, they used a special decoder ring to decipher the mysterious book known as the Abstract. Upon reading the Abstract, they learned the story all about how their parents' lives got twist-turned upside down. The Pride first came together in 1985, assembled by the Gibborim, a trio of 6-fingered giants who just so happened to be elder gods, you know, H.P. Lovecraft style. And like any good elder gods worth their salt, they wanted to cleanse the earth of the human race. To do so, they brought together 6 couples, which included time travelers, crime bosses, alien invaders, mad scientists, telepathic mutants, and dark wizards, and gave them untold riches and enhanced their powers so they could control the City of Angels, aka Los Angeles. The Pride would then have 25 years to lay the groundwork required to exterminate all of mankind. Oh, and I should say it bears mentioning that only 6 of the members who best served the Pride would be allowed to rule over paradise on Earth. The other 6 would be obliterated with the rest of humanity. You know, that old chestnut. That old, you made a deal with an elder god, but there were untold consequences, so you better hope you're a good evil intern, chestnut. Yikes. Things eventually came to a head, though, when the kids interrupted the Pride ceremony to give the Gibborim the power to destroy all mankind. Man, kids always ruining their parents' night out. Just when it seemed like the Runaways were about to finally get one over on their parents, though, things took a left turn onto Boulevard because it was revealed that one of their number was a mole who was secretly sympathetic to their parents. Whom, you ask? Well, you should really read the comic if you want to know. I don't really want to spoil things for you. But I'm also happy to tell you that it was Alex Wilder all along. Alex did it, he was the mole. He had actually discovered his parents' secret long before the others did and remained secretly loyal to the Pride. But in spite of this betrayal, the Runaways were actually able to stop their parents and prevent them from giving the soul of the girl that they murdered to those hungry hippos we know as the Gibborim. Unfortunately, this also had the side effect of making the Gibborim attack and apparently slaughter both their parents and Alex, which just sounds like a horrible way to go. Murdered by an elder god who is hungry for souls, so he doesn't find anything else, so he has to feast on yours. Ah, Yikes. In the wake of their parents' defeat, the Runaways met up with Captain America, who had them placed in various foster homes and special facilities across this great nation. But true to their name, our heroes just missed each other too darn much and ran away, getting the gang back together to protect Los Angeles from the power vacuum created by their parents' absence. And thus the original saga of the Runaways came to an end, mainly because Marvel canceled the book after 18 issues. But over time, they realized they had a cult classic on their hands and they revived it several times over the next several years. This time, they had altered lineups and they would bring them back to take part in massive events like House of M and Secret Wars. In Secret Wars, they actually found themselves in Victor Von Doom's Institute for Gifted Youths in Doomstadt, where they discovered that the final in final exams was more literal than they could have possibly imagined. And you thought you had it bad. I know you're going back to school right now, but just remember, you could be in a weird murder world, and I'm not talking about Arcade's version, where the Runaways also went at one point. Crazy stuff. So what can you expect from the show? Well, personally, I think they'd be fools not to follow that original 18-issue storyline because there is so much rich narrative to mine there. But people are wondering, is it going to be connected to the larger MCU? I think it could be, because the Runaways encountered many other Marvel characters on their journeys, namely Cloak and Dagger, who are getting their own TV series on Freeform, formerly ABC Family. And if you look at who owns Hulu and who owns ABC Family, it's all stemming back to Disney and ABC Television. The Runaways also encountered other high-profile figures like Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man, to name a few, but I do think it's unlikely we're going to see Tony Stark popping up on Hulu anytime soon. However, smart money says there's going to be references aplenty to the larger events going on in the MCU, so you'll still feel like you're a part of it. But what do you guys think? What do you want from a Runaways series? Who should star in it? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, give me a Runaway a thumbs up. Now be sure to like and subscribe, or else you might miss next week's thrilling episode in which we discuss the story of a fixer for a corporate law firm who tries to save a guilt-ridden attorney torpedoing a class action lawsuit by day and takes off his clothes by night to do the McNasty as a male stripper in Magic Michael Clayton. Until next time, keep on digging. Let's open up the old mailbag, shall we? At That Lily Mason asks, if you came with a warning label, what would it say? Well, mine would probably say, do not give him the aux cable when you're in the car unless you need to hear Morrissey like right away. Otherwise, you're totally gonna hear some Morrissey. At William Fuentes asks, what is your scotch of choice, Dantastic, and why? Great question, William. My favorite, I gotta say, probably the Yamazaki 18-year, because it brings back fond memories. Let me take that back. I'm like mumbling and doing weird shit. At William Fuentes asks, what is your choice of scotch, Dantastic, and why? Well, great question, William. My favorite's probably the Yamazaki 18-year, because it brings back fond memories of visiting the distillery in Osaka and sampling it in their showroom. It was a great time of my life, and every sip brings back fond memories. Now, I mean, yeah, there's better scotches out there, but I will say a little nostalgia goes a long way. At TDK Retweets asks, what DC cartoon did you prefer when it aired? Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, Superman, or any others? Well, I gotta say, I am ride or die for Batman the Animated Series. It's the greatest of all time, hands down, and I won't back down on that. But what's your favorite though? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.